Hi, this is Tara from Chaley's Couture Quilting, and I'm just trying to make a better video of how I give my leaders on my long arm some general maintenance every so often. So I normally do this about every 6 months, but I feel like it's been a long time. And or I do it when I notice things are starting to get wonky, or if I have a lot of side issues, then I'll do this too. But I really haven't. I'm just doing it now. I'm getting ready to do a major quilt, so I want to make sure that my leaders are in top notch. So there's a YouTube video by another person who shows you how to make these little channels to put your leader grips into, and I was using leader grips at one time when I first bought my long arm, but I no longer do that anymore. I like the pin. But so I have these, so they were pretty much straight when I made those, so I knew where I was at that point. And when you get your leaders, sometimes they're not cut to where you think they're perfectly straight, so just kind of using your channel locks and creating that nice edge is just something you may want to do, even if you aren't going to do your leader grips to help you with your quilts. So I noticed a little bit of, I kind of just look and see how it's laying when I've clipped them all together. I found my centers that I had marked, and I clipped them from the back to the front. And this is where my center is supposed to be. And I have a ruler base underneath here. It helped with using these little Amazon binder clips that I have. And I'm just going to simply roll up. I have auto advance, so it makes it a lot easier. If you don't have auto advance on your long arm, you can do it by hand. I'd like to put a little bit of tension on my brake because that can get things nice and tight. What I'm going to do is really kind of roll it and check my tape, because tape on my leaders, or whatever affixes your leader to your bars, is actually where you want to start, because if you have issues, sometimes your tape might be getting loose and you might need to go ahead and put some more tape on it. So I'm going to just roll. I'm going to wind up, and I'm going to move my Lucy all the way to the side. I really don't want her getting bothered as far as I can. She's probably going to have to go underneath this though, so I'll find a sweet spot in a minute to get her in there so she doesn't knock into it. So I'm going to wind. So I got her over the hump. You can actually take your foot off if you're really worried about it. But she's doing okay. And I'm just going to go ahead and wind this, even with my clips on. They're still winding. So no worries there, okay guys? They're just plastic little clips, so if they break, you can put a new one on. And I am noticing some rolls. I definitely want to fix that, and I'm going to do this a few times as we go, kind of checking out my leaders. Whoa, now I've gotten this far. I'll back up just a tiny bit, and you can see where I put my painter's tape and things on here before. And kind of just, where the originals were, because they're a little bit loose from a long time ago. So I think I'm going to remove these and put some even better tape on it. So just bear with me for 1 second. So I normally do it by piecemeal. I don't rip all these off all at once and then go from there. If I feel like this is like loose, I'm going to work my way around up and down this bar, just trying to look to see if there's any tape that's kind of losing its grip, kind of getting loose after lots of wear. I'm just going to replace it with some nice good sticky tape. on my bars. So but always do it one at a time so you can keep your leader on here straight, because you really don't want to lose that placement of your leader. So I went up, I straightened my side there a little bit more because I felt like the leader was a little bit pulled. So just to making sure that it's all parallel, it's all at the same spot on the leader. So that's going to help you when it comes to rolling it back and forth and getting it nice and conditioned. Okay. So now I'm rolling it. I still have a little bit of tension on my leader. I'm unwinding it from up there. If you have like 2 people helping you, if you don't have the auto advance, you may want to have that happen. Someone roll it while you over here are making sure it's nice and tight. That would probably be the best bet if you can't auto advance. So I'm just going to auto advance everything that was in the back now is going on to the front part of the leader. So I'll be right back. So you could check your back one if you feel like it's compromised. I don't think mine's compromised. It's nice and tight right now. And really it's the front one that always worries me, because this is where it gets a little loose with all the play that you do on it. So you could check the tapes, but my tapes I think are pretty good. And then now I'm going to go ahead and roll it and wind it back up on the back roller. So it's winding, it's nice and tight in the back. Rolling and making sure there's no crinkles in my back leader. If there is, I'm going to go and I'm just going to massage it out. The thing about auto advance, it rolls it just right, and that's why I really didn't check the back this time, because I felt like I didn't checked it last time, and I just felt like it's really good. But if you notice any kind of looseness in the back, you definitely want to check your tapes. But this one seems to be pretty good so far, and that's what I just did. If you see any kind of kinking, you want to rub it out, because you don't want your rollers to kink. Just keep an eye on the front that you don't go too far. Kind of putting my hand over it so I can feel it as we go. Come over here and rub this a little bit as it rub out. So I'm rubbing any kind of kinks, getting it nice and straight, because if it's going to kink, it's not a good thing. So you want to make sure, kind of just get that out so this technique works. Come back, and as it's going, I may straighten it out just a little bit. Now there could come a time where you need to redo your leaders. You need to make them straight again, and not go back to those videos online. There's lots of people that have done some really good ideas for how to straighten them and to stitch the line with your channel locks and fold it over and stitch them again. I always will take out the last one I did and make my line with my ruler base, fold it over, stitch over top, and then I'll have them straight again. So this is a good way to tell if you're going to need to do that again. If things are just looking really wonky, you know, it's going to probably be about time that you re-straighten those rollers. But this is what I do for just general maintenance in between having to do things. That keeps me from having to make the new edges. So I just do this a few more times, and then I should be good to go. Okay, I'm on my third roll. It's winding, probably one of the best rolls it's done so far. I haven't had any kinks up here in the top yet, so nice and tight in the back. I am going slow, just making sure. Might be just a little bit of a bubble, but everything else seems to be doing okay. So, just winding it up. So this technique really works for me. Just winding it back and forth, finding the center, winding it back and forth. You can tell that they're really straightening out because the clips, you can see, are right in the same position all the way across. So that's a good indicator they're getting very straight for you. So I'm just gonna keep doing it a little bit more. Then I'm gonna come back a little and then get it to where it needs to be for the next quilt. Oops, sorry, wrong way. So I will check to see if my center changed at all with all that. And it really has not changed. It's where it needs to be. And now I'm ready to take off. If I did need to, I would remark. I would just, that's water soluble, I would just dab it out, and then I would measure and remark my centers on for both leaders before I take out these. So let's just say after rolling it a few times, this was over here and this was over here, erase them all, then do your measuring tape, find the center of this of the front leader, find the center of the back leader, and then do it that way. Okay, so that's what you would do before you take these things off. Once you get, and then remark them, let it dry, then remark it, and then you can start taking them off. Really easy. So I just go all the way down, take them off, and also I check around to make sure nothing popped off. Most of the time they don't pop off at all. So, but there might be one or two that popped off. So I always check that so my machine head does not have a problem later, or my computer quilt path doesn't have a problem. So don't want anything hitting those belts. So it's going down, and this is just what I experimented with doing. When you long arm, I watched the YouTube clip of Jamie Whalen doing his backing and getting the backing just perfect. So I said, well, why can't you just do this with your leaders too to help straighten it? And so I tried it, and it seems to help a lot. I don't have all that waviness on the sides. And so I will wind. I still have a nice little grip on the brake. I'm just going to go ahead and roll it up. Now also something to think about is I just found out I saw it twisted over here. So when you have your backing pinned, another thing that APQS trained me to do was to take your sides, have a little bit of break on there, and just pull them. You know, when you have your backing on it on each side, just give it a nice good tug, and that's supposed to help also condition your leaders. Okay, so let me just do that. I also use these. I found them on Amazon. They're like, I think they use them for like sit-down quilting machines, just to kind of keep your quilt sandwich rolled up. But I use them for my bars. So I keep them on my front, my top loading, quilt top. I always pin my top. So I have those kind of just keeping them nice. They're just not hanging like that. Also lets me see how they're laying on my bars. So let me put it. I want to show you how I know I did a good job, because my edge is pretty much at the same spot on my bar. Everything's nice and tight on this bar. And the top is great. If you're noticing that after you've done this, like you got the top all the way over here and then this part here, then you're going to need to redo your edges. But right now, I do not need to redo my edges. I'm still in a good spot right now, which is great. I also look at my top roll. You can do the same thing with your top roll. You just put that to the back there and connect them. I wasn't going to do it today because I know it's pretty good. And look, my mark is still hitting that mark there. You can see back in the days when I first got my long arm, you know, where the center once was on this thing. But this is where my new center is at. As long as it's all the way through these three, we're good. And it is, because we already know that the two back ones matched up nice when we did our rolling technique. And now my top, because I pinned my tops, looks looking great. Is like perfect still. So that's just something I do. And I know I think some other people were saying they do those that I've talked to in my group forums. And it's prevented me from really having to make a new edge to my leaders. And if you constantly think about the care of these guys, sorry, they're flopping, and keeping them from filing over and stuff, you know, just constantly keeping them nice and crisp, it helps your quilts. So I just wanted to share what I do, and I hope this video was more detail about how to do it, because I know that was one of the comments, that feedback I got, was make the video more in depth about it. So you can see, but like I said, if you don't have an auto advance on your long arm, you may want to have a partner be on the back cranking it, or however your long arm works. But my APQS has the auto advance, so I can just get it to where it needs to go with one person. So hope that helps. Have a great day. Bye.